Hi you guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Patience. To my existing subscribers, welcome back. If this is your first time here, be sure to click that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can continue to indulge in the Hot Bella experience. In today's video, I am going to be creating this beautiful spring look. This look was inspired by another YouTube content creator. Her name is Jasmine Egal. I believe that's how you pronounce her name, but I'll leave her channel information in the description box below. But yeah, this was inspired by a look that I saw her do on her channel, and this is a look using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Riviera palette. So this is a palette that I picked up during last year's VIB spring sale from Sephora, and I have created a look using this palette already, so I'll be sure to link that in the iCard above so you guys can check that out. But it's springtime, or at least when I look at my calendar, based upon the months that's showing on my calendar, it is springtime, but here in my area, it's 45 degrees, so go figure that. But anyway, it is springtime and I am looking forward to creating some beautiful spring and summer looks. So I decided to revisit this Riviera palette. So this is a gorgeous palette. If you guys have not seen this palette before, this is a beautiful palette in terms of the color story in this palette. And the formula of the eyeshadows in this palette are typical with the eyeshadows that come from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So basically I was able to work with the pinks in this eyeshadow palette to create this look, and then added a pop of that beautiful yellowish gold color there to make it all come together. So if you guys would like to see how I created this look, then keep watching. My face has been moisturized, and I've also prepped my eyes using the Cover FX Power Play Concealer in white, and I'm going to use the Professional Primer from Benefit. I'm going to take about this size or this amount, and I'm just going to warm this up just a little bit, and I'm going to pat this onto my face, starting with the center of the face and just patting outward. It's been a while since I've used this primer, but it came inside of my April BoxyCharm box. So I figured I would go ahead and use it today for this look. I'm going to go into this Riviera palette, and I'm going to use this shade right here. This shade is called Estate, and I'm going to use this as my brow bone highlight. This is a matte shade, so it's a little different than what I would normally use for my brow bone highlight. Normally my brow bone highlight has a little bit of a shimmer to it, but yeah, a matte brow bone highlight can be just as pretty. I'm going to use this shade right here. This shade is called Monte Carlo, and I'm going to use this as my transition shade. And I'm just building this up to my desired level of intensity. And now I'm going to use this shade right here. This shade is called Bahamas, and I'm going to put this on the outer V and sweep it into the crease area. This is a very vibrant pink, but it's really pretty. It's perfect for a spring and or summer eye look. Very pretty. And I'm going back to this shade right here. This is the same shade that I use as my transition shade. This shade is called Monte Carlo. And I'm going to take my same brush that I used to apply the transition shade, and I'm going to add a little bit more just to make sure that these edges are not too harsh. Just a little bit. Very, very lightly. Just blending that out just a little bit. And I've done my little half cut crease type of situation that I always do. And I am going to go back into the Riviera palette. And I'm going to continue to work with this shade right here. This shade is called Bahamas. And I'm going to use this shade just to soften up these edges of where I have carved out my lid. I'm using the Makeup Revolution Cut Crease Canvas on my eyelids today to carve out the lids. And as you guys have heard me mention before, this product is kind of on the wet side. So be sure that you let it dry down just a little bit before you start to work with it, just in case you decide to try to recreate this look, or if you use it for any other look. That's just one of my suggestions, is to let it dry down just a little bit. And I'm going to use this shade right here. This shade is called Inheritance, and I'm going to place this on top of the areas where I have carved out this lid, where I have the remaining open space. So yeah, this is a beautiful golden, yellow golden shimmer shade. So I'm just going to plop this right on top, and I am using this dry. And now I'm going to go back to this shade right here. This shade is called Monte Carlo, and I'm going to use this shade just to marry the Bahamas, which is this deeper pink shade that I already have down on my lid, just to marry these two shades together. I'm also using the Inheritance shade in the areas where I have carved out the lid, or where I have added that cut crease base. So yeah, I'm just going to go back into Monte Carlo here, and I am going to just blend this in to marry these two shades together. Give it a little bit more of a gradient type look. And I'm going to go back to Bahamas once again. That's this very beautiful, vibrant pink shade here. And I'm going to use my same fluffy brush as I did before, because I want to make sure that I'm not losing this color on this outer part of my eye. So I'm just tapping a little bit more of that right there in that outer V. Just a little bit. And now I'm going to take my Sigma E36 brush. You guys have seen me use this brush many times. This is the brush that I use when I need to add a little bit more definition into the area where I had to manipulate my natural crease line. And that's what I have to do because I do have slightly hooded eyes. But I'm going to go back into the shade Bahamas right here. And I'm going to use the Sigma E36. And I am going to add just a little bit more definition around the areas where I've had to manipulate that crease line. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to add my liner and my lashes. My liner and my lashes are done, and I've done a little color correcting around my mouth using my Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer in the shade SX14. And I also used my Tatcha Pearl in the shade Candlelight under my eyes. And I'm moving on to complexion. And I am going to use this product here. This is from Iconic London, and this is the Iconic London Illuminator. I think this is in the shade Original, and this came in my most recent BoxyCharm box. This is a beautiful shade. It looks like a champagne-y type of color. So this is supposed to be used as a liquid highlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of drops of this on the back of my hand, just like that. And I'm going to use this Luxie brush. This also came in one of my BoxyCharm boxes. And I'm going to take some of this iconic London Illuminator on this brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and place it here on the highest points of my face, because I'm going to place my foundation on top of this. So this is supposed to give you that glow from within type of look. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it here and see what it does. I'm using this in all the areas that I would normally add a little bit of highlight. You can see that, definitely can see that. I'm going to use this Marc Jacobs Shameless Youthful Look 24-Hour Foundation. I am in the shade Y470. I've been trying to use as many of my traditional foundations as I possibly can. I have quite a few of them that I'm trying to work my way through, so I have not used this Marc Jacobs in a while, so I figured today would be a good day to do that. So I'm just going to place this foundation on my face, and as usual I will use my brush to apply this foundation or to buff this foundation into my skin, and then I'll follow up with a sponge. Add a little bit more. Now I remember this foundation is of a little bit lighter coverage. It's buildable if I remember correctly, but it is a rather sheer coverage to begin with. You'll have to build it up if you're wanting more coverage. But the illuminator here is not looking too bad. You can still see that shining through this foundation, so it's very nice. Can you guys still see that illuminator from Iconic London? I think I can still see it. I think it's still there. It's good. We're going to keep going. I'm going to use my Magic Away Concealer from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm in the shade 9, and I'm going to use this in all the areas that you would normally want to conceal and highlight. And because of the type of applicator that comes with this Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Concealer, which is that sponge type of applicator with a twist up type of applicator that dispenses the product, I'm applying this concealer in one area at a time because I don't want it to dry down too fast on me, so better safe than sorry. And I'm using my Hourglass Translucent Veil Setting Powder to set under my eyes. I'm going to add a little bit of this translucent veil powder to all the areas where I have applied my concealer. I'm going to do some cream contouring, and I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. I'm going to blend this in with my sponge. I'm going to use my RCMA No Color Powder to set my entire face. Just a light set. I want to warm up my face a little bit more, so I am going to do a little bronzing, and I'm going to use my Sephora Pro Face Palette, and I'm going to use this shade right here. This shade is called Jet Setter. And it's time for blush, and now I'm going to use this shade right here. This shade is called Premier. This is from the Sephora Pro Face Palette still. Taking just a little bit of this on my brush and gonna add just a little bit. Gonna bring a little bit into my temples, just a little bit. So normally this would be at the point where I would add my highlighter, and now I'm at the point where I would normally apply my highlighter, but I've already used the iconic London Illuminator under my foundation, so we're going to experiment a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit more of this iconic Illuminator, and I'm going to put a couple more drops on the back of my hand. I'm going to see how well this is going to perform on top of powder, because again, right, I used it under my foundation. I did not have any powder on my face at that time, but now that I've got some powder on my face, I'm curious to see if this is going to flake up or gather up. So I'm going to put it on the back of my hand like I did before. I'm going to use my brush here just to get some on this fluffy brush. Ooh, and I hope I don't mess this up, but let's try it. Let's just put just a little bit right in there. Not too bad. Not bad at all. What do you guys think? So again, the iconic London Illuminator came in my BoxyCharm box. So I've got some other illuminating type of products that I have in my collection, and I'm going to start to use those, and I'm going to come back and do some side-by-side comparisons and just start to work with them because they really are beautiful. It's just trying to figure out how and when to use them in your get ready routine, because this one is not doing bad underneath foundation, so that's without any powder, and then now applying it on top of powder, so it's not doing too bad. So this one is working out pretty good. So yeah, we're gonna stay in that vein. We're gonna test some more of these out to see how they work. But yeah, this is looking really, really pretty. And now it's time to smoke out my waterline, and I am going to use, what color do you think I'm going to use? I'm going to use Bahamas. So I'm going to stick with this shade, and I'm going to apply this under my eye. I might add in a little bit of Palm just on the edges, but yeah, we're going to stay with Bahamas. Start off with a little bit of Palm just right here on this outer part of my under eye, just right where that connects right there. Add Bahama, and I think I'm going to bring a little bit more light into this inner corner here, and I'm going to go back into this shade right here. This is Inheritance. This is the shade that I already have on the inner portion of my mobile lid, but yeah, I'm gonna just bring that down a little bit more into my inner corner here. And now it is time for lips. I am going to use this lippy pencil from ColourPop, and it's in the shade Shot Clock. And I'm going to use one of the matte retro lipsticks. I believe this is one of their retro lipsticks, if they still have this. This is in the color Candy Yum Yum, I believe it's what it's called. And this is a really, really pretty color. This is a beautiful pink lipstick. Love this lipstick. Very pretty. And I think instead of leaving this matte, I'm going to dig into my BoxyCharm box. And this is the iconic London Lip Plumper Lip Gloss. And I'm going to put some of this on top of this Candy Yum Yum. Not a fan of how this smells. And this look is done. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Riviera palette is a gorgeous palette. When I first used this palette, I did say that this palette took me a bit out of my comfort zone, but this is the second look that I've created using this palette, and the more I use it, the more comfortable I become. I love how this look turned out, and I'm looking forward to playing with this palette even more. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye-bye.